The Miller brothers had the distinct privilege of growing up behind the shelves of a Christian bookstore where they learned firsthand about the value of faith-based stories. They both attended the Art Institute of Seattle, where they trained in computer animation and multimedia design, and now they are the founders of Lumination Studios, a production company that produces stories of faith and fun for families. And guys, Christopher and Allan, we are so glad that you could be with us. Love the book. I mean, wait till you guys see some of the pictures and the animation. It's just absolutely fabulous. Did a great job. But you guys grew up in a Christian bookstore. Is that kind of like a preacher's kid or something? I mean,
I guess you can say that.
Well, yeah, so what was that like? That must have been interesting.
Well, yeah, literally before I was born, my grandparents and parents were running a Christian bookstore up in Fairbanks, Alaska, and it was really fun because, you know, just a few weeks after born, we're tucked behind the shelves, and, you know, they're serving customers again. And so growing up in that environment, you know, we would spend evenings, you know, while mom and dad were doing inventory, running around the bookstore, hiding in behind the bookshelves and playing. And as part of that, which was really cool, is we got a great experience with Christian books. You know, we were able to pick up and read pretty much everything that came through the store, and so have a lot of great favorites, and kind of became a part of what we wanted to do with our life. So,
how important do you think faith-based stories are, particularly nowadays?
Oh, well, as a father, I have two little boys myself. I find, you know, reading stories to them is just a natural occurrence in the day. You know, bedtime stories, all of that. Being able to, I mean, as a father, Christian father, being able to read a story that will plant a little bit of truth into their life, give you a point to reference when you talk about the situation as it arises. You know, we need to share, we need to do that. You know, we need to be kind to each other in these ways. Being able to reference it to a story, a character that they connect with, is a great tool. And I know growing up, you know, those stories stick with me. You know, even the children's books I read today, those carry so much truth. Sometimes they carry some of the most important truths that even as an adult, you know, I'll think back to the stories I'm reading to my kids and boy, that's just like you know that character did in the story, and it's just a great medium, and obviously one Christ used very effectively throughout his ministry with parables. So.
Well, you have a series of books, and it's called The Heroes of Promise.
Right.
And like I was saying, the first book, I mean, the pictures are beautiful. We'll talk about the illustration in just a moment, but the name of the book is Get the Kid and the Black Bean Bandits.
That's right, Get the Kid and the Black Bean Bandits.
The title is so funny, but tell us a little bit about the story and where you came up with the idea.
Well, we'd been playing with the story of Gideon, which is what it's based on, for several years, and just had never really found a unique kind of, you know, what was going to be our fresh, you know, take on it. And we were at a writers' conference together, and over our lunch break we were discussing our devotions, and I just came across a verse in Judges that said, in those days Israel had no king and everyone did what was right in his own eyes. And we thought, Wild West. That's the Wild West, right?
No law, no sheriff.
And so the story of Get the Kid kind of was born out of that, and in the series as well. Will be 4 books in the series for sure, with the possibility of a 5th one that we're working on as well. And you know, all focusing on Bible heroes in the town of promise is what we're calling it. And so Heroes of Promise is what the name of the series is, and so it's pretty exciting to kind of have the story really just took shape from there, and just seeing how God used that little, you know, devotions and that one moment, you know, to kind of spur the whole thing. So
why did you decide to focus on the story of Gideon? Because the Bible is full of stories. You could have picked anything you wanted. Why did you kind of think Gideon was a good one at this time? Well,
you know, the story of Gideon is one you don't necessarily hear a lot of. You know, it's up there. You know, you may hear it in Sunday school, but it often can get brushed over with Moses and a lot of the other ones. And so it's always one that just had spoke to us as kids. You know, when you remembered and liked the whole fact of just how unlikely of a hero he is. He just, I mean, not like David, where he just, you know, he just stands up to Goliath, and I mean, which is inspiring in its own right. But he was really like a lot of us, where
he's scared
to death. He's out there hiding in the the wine press. You know, he's you know trying to hide from, you know, keep his food, wants to save his lunch, which is of course where, you know, we were inspired to look at the idea of the beans, you know, the chili being what he's the town of promise is protecting and scared about. So it was just that idea of he was just so unsure, and he needed a lot of reassurances, and that's where in our story the White Rider comes in, just like God did speaking to Gideon, and just kept reassuring him, no, I'm with you, and you know, it's me that's going to do the work. I just need you to be faithful in your part. And so it's a really inspiring story.
Now, what are some of the other issues that you cover in the book? Because as we were talking earlier about the whole issue of bullying and how important it is for us to teach our kids how to deal with it when it comes up in their lives.
And I'm glad you brought that up. You know, it was perfect tie into this because really what our book is about is how doing the right thing isn't always easy, and especially in the concept of bullying. We talk about that, and there's actually a discussion guide in the back for dealing with bullies. It's kind of a little roundup section on the last page, and we have questions for parents to kind of talk through. It's like, is it okay, for people to do mean things, and what is our response to that supposed to be? And our take on it, and for what we hear in the Word of God, is we need to trust God in the tough situations like that. Look to Him for some answers. Obviously, the kids need to be in communication with their parents. Is what the Bible says. But being very much aware that there's going to be tough situations in life, and we can't run away from them.
Right.
We never, when we were growing up, had to deal with worrying about a kid bringing a gun to school.
Right.
And my kids are going to have to deal with that, and so much more. And as terrorism rises, and as just the nature of the world is going the way it is, tougher and tougher situations are going to rise for our kids, and we need to equip them at earlier years with some, I think, truths from the Bible about standing up for what's right, even when it's unpopular or scary. Because that's really what our book is about. Gideon was asked to make a pretty bold stance when the rest of the town was living in fear. All the big people were. This is a kid who's sitting here, and everybody else is afraid of these boys. They're just kind of letting it be. And God asked him to make a stand. And whether what happens as a result of that stand is good or bad is kind of beside the point. We have to do what God asks us to and stand for what's right and let Him take care of the results.
Rest of it. That's right.
Which we have to leave in His hands. And of course, in our story, it has a very happy ending and fun ending.
Right. It really does. But let's talk a little bit about the illustration, because it is just phenomenal. I mean, I was reading it to my kids, and I was getting into the pictures, and I don't know if I've ever seen anything like it. It's tell us a little bit about how you guys did that.
Yeah. Well,
as you can see, it's done in the 3D style. It has a very animated feel to it in that sense. They're fully animatable characters. In this case, we were just focusing on doing it in a book. That's what we trained in at the Art Institute of Seattle, doing our computer animation, and it's just something we naturally are attracted to as an art medium, and it has a very great feel with the whole Pixar kind of quality. People have mentioned that when they see it. Really connects well with kids today. They'll be watching a lot of shows or movies that use this type of artwork, and so to have a book that really kind of gives them that same kind of depth, color, and experience, it really has been neat to be able to produce the book that way.
Right.
When I was looking at it, and I even said this to you guys already, I saw a DVD. I could see a movie. I mean, because it's a great story, and like you said, the animation is done so well. Any prospects in the future on that?
That's what our hopes are. When we were creating it, obviously our background is in computer animation. Our hopes were to do DVD, type or film type products, and so we're working right now with a distributor or a couple distributors that are interested, and we have a production team ready to go. We're just looking for that third piece, which is the financing, and so we're putting together all that. But we're really hoping to bring the Heroes of Promise series to life on film as well.
Right, that's great. Yeah. Now, we were talking a little bit about the importance of equipping our kids. You guys have kids.
We do.
What kind of impact did they have on you guys making the book? Did they put their input in there, or what did they tell you?
One of the little things that's in there, which is it's kind of fun, is my son just really loves geckos, and so as we were building the book, we hid, I think it's like 24 geckos or something like that throughout the book.
So
they can find it throughout. So, and I did it for my son. He's 3 years old, because I knew he wouldn't really necessarily sit through it, but I thought, this would be great. And sure enough, he memorized every page where they're on there. But yeah, it was just kind of fun, just a little thing there where it's, inspiration from my son, to put in there. And some fun things, not, there. But yeah, it's neat to be able to do that. Yeah, and he loves the pictures. He loves the horses and all that stuff, of course, too. But then it's neat just to be able to write it with the hopes that someday when he's a little bit older, because he's 3, and the book's really for ages 6 to 10, but to be able to read it to him and help him understand that a little bit more.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, you guys did a great job with it, 6 to 10, and a little bit older, because like I said, it was really neat. I have an 18-year-old. She even enjoyed it. So, guys, best of luck to you. I hope that God just really opens up doors of opportunity for not just this book, but others that you guys have plans for, and also for DVDs and movies. So, thank you so much for coming and being with us.
Thank you very much.
If you'd like to find an easy way to connect with the Miller brothers or purchase some of their books, you can visit us at harvest-tv.com to find an easy way to link to their website.